Yeah, we'll move him around, see where he's at. Again, he's doing everything in his power, but I think he'll probably be with Britt again today, and hopefully we'll get a chance to warm him up pregame and see how he does.
How's Guyton improving? Kind of think he's out of the boots. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, he's walking around better, which is good. He's doing a little bit more movement stuff. He's doing some stuff on the treadmill, things like that, underwater treadmill and whatnot. But he's making progress, all those guys. But, yeah, for this week. No.
The team has gone through a lot on and off the field the last couple of weeks. After Detroit, have you told your staff or your players to say maybe we could take a breath a little bit?
You never take a breath in this business this time of year, man. When it's December football and when it rolls around, you just stay focused on the grind. You love the grind. You hate the grind, but it's part of the deal. And, most important thing for me is, finish our prep for Detroit. It's going to be a very physical game. We have a play style that we're proud of. They certainly have an established play style as well. So first things first, we want to play well Thursday night.
Brian Schottenheimer with ESPN. With Trayvon, what have you seen in the 2 days from him?
Yeah, it's been great to have him back out there, number one. I think, he's doing a good job trying to shake off some of the rust and kind of just get back into it. And we'll see how today goes. And I know he wants to play and he's trying to play, and we'll see how today goes, and we'll make that decision as we get a little closer.
I don't know if you've had a guy practice 1 week and then play. Should we look at past precedent here on some guys?
I think we're gonna be smart. I'm gonna listen to the trainers on this one. I'll look at the video. I've been watching the video, obviously, and I'm seeing how he's doing. But each situation is different, Todd. Like I say, and we'll be smart. I mean, that's why most ramp up periods take a little bit of time. But we'll see, and we'll make the right decision.
John Schottenheimer with The Athletic. Before practice, not yesterday, but the day before, you brought the guys up. After the stretching, or right before you guys started stretching, and it sounded like you were kind of fired up. How do you determine when you're going to do stuff like that?
I trust my gut. There were a few things that I saw that just kind of made me want to have a little conversation with the boys, and so that's what I did. I called them up, had a little conversation, and they got the message, and we went and had a good practice.
If I could take you back to when you got hired and got the job, have you had to have more of those than you thought, or pretty much what you thought in terms of, having to get into the guys and stuff like that? Because that doesn't seem like something that you would want to do all the time. It doesn't seem like that's your personality.
No, you don't want to do it all the time, but you have to do it. I didn't want to make them run that day at practice and training camp either, but they weren't doing their part and they weren't upholding the standard, so we stopped what we were doing and made them run. But these guys understand, that there's a job to do, and I'm always going to be honest with them. John, I'm always going to be, hey, this is a standard, and if I don't like the standard that's being put out there, then I'm gonna call them out.
Nick Harris, 4-Star Telegram. Getting into December here, how much do you balance talking big picture with the guys versus, hey, game by game, but still kind of understanding what you guys have to do?
Yeah, I'm a game by game guy. Always have been, always will be. I just think it serves you the best, to do it that way, because it's such a long season. It'd be different if you were playing 6 or 8 games, only. But when you're talking 17 games before the playoffs start, I think you have to, take each day and each week by themselves. And the other thing that I believe in is I believe you really focus more on yourself. We talk more about ourselves than we talk about the opponent. I think, our best ability to perform well and win games is based on what we do and how we perform and how we execute, not what the opponent does. And we play really good opponents every week, but I just think it's an important part of the process. And then ultimately when we get to a Super Bowl, it's going to be no different. It's going to be Monday's a Monday and Tuesday's a Tuesdays. You got the 2 weeks and all that stuff. But, I think that's important that you build into these guys that, hey, we're going to take it one day at a time, 1 week at a time. And why? Because your focus needs to be where your feet are.
And then you guys have had a lot of short weeks back-to-back and not a lot of time for self-scout in those short weeks. This upcoming, 10-day break, does it allow you guys to kind of bounce back and revert to some of the things that you all didn't get to in those short weeks?
Yeah, I think so. We're trying to stay on top of it. I think the one thing that you've seen, I think I've mentioned to you guys a little bit, is, the big emphasis for us over these last couple short weeks has been tight plans, execution. Same thing comes down to us playing well, doing what we're supposed to do. And, but we will take a deep breath, to Calvin's point, and kind of look at ourselves over this span of 4 games in 17 days or whatever it is, and there'll be a couple things that jump off the tape. The one thing that I do think this is a great thing, not a bad thing, but we've got a ton of room for improvement as well as we're playing, but we have to get better with the football. I mean, we're -5, we're 25th in the league. That sucks. And it's like, we got to fix that. And for us to go where we want to go, we got to take care of the football, and we got to take it away. And I really do think this game's going to come down to that. I think this game, because you got 2 physical teams that play the right style, and whichever team, protects the football better, I think is going to win the game.
Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. Kind of going on the next question. I know you focus on yourself, but when you have something that's having so much success, like George Pickens running slants, for example, how much of the game plan is anticipating via self-scout what another opponent might try to respond to something you're doing well?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd say this, Joe. He's going to run slants in this game. Just put that there. I mean, so, hey, guys, Kelvin Shepard, he's going to run slants. That's part of the deal. But we definitely have compliments off slants. So, again, if they want to play him, they can. But I think it's really cool. I saw something where he was talking about the slants, and it was funny because I was listening to it last night. Somebody sent it to me. I was like, he didn't really tell him much. He told him a lot, but he didn't really tell him much. And that's what I love about GP. But, again, we have compliments for whatever we're doing. And the marriage part of what we do is important, whether it's run to pass, pass to run, whatever it is, formations. But again, I think that executing something that the defense knows is coming, I think is really cool.
And then we've talked so much about all the additions and people coming back for the defense. I haven't really talked a lot about Malik and Donovan Wilson. From a communication standpoint, how important has their re-additions been?
Huge, yeah. I mean, that's the thing everybody talks about Quinnen, because Quinnen and Logan show up and we start playing great defense. But the other thing, Demo comes back. All great things, right? All great things. But those 2 guys coming back, you can make an argument that that's as impressive and as important as anything because of the communication in the back half. So Flus calls the play to K9 or Logan, right? They're the green dot. They communicate that. But the guys making a lot of the adjustments are the safeties and sharing that information. If you hear those guys both talk, man, they are loud, they are confident, they're not saying, hey, I kind of want to do this. Like, they're making their calls, and like they're putting everybody in the right spot. And without that, with as much motion and things we see, you're lost. So those 2 guys get a ton of credit for how well we're playing.
Scott is with the AP on Clowney. It's not unheard of for guys, 10-plus year guys, to maybe work on the side and still play. Does it look like he might be able to do that, or is it looking more like he won't play?
Yeah, again, I agree with you. Veterans usually have the ability. They don't necessarily need to practice. We'll see how today works, but we're going to give him every opportunity to play in the game. He's playing at a great level, and if not, then we'll adjust. But he's earned the right to try to take this thing up as long as we can to game time. I know he wants to play. I've had good conversations with him. But a little different veteran than a young player, right, that they don't really need to practice as much.
You, I don't remember how many weeks ago it was, but there was, after one game in particular, you said he looked different. I can't remember what game it was, but since then, have you seen even more of that? And obviously the 2 sacks last week, and if it is a little bit of a setback injury-wise, how disappointing is that with him kind of coming along the way he was?
Yeah, well, number one, I think the biggest thing I would say is I just love the way he plays. I think he's having a huge impact, Skylar, on the way really all the guys play, because a couple of the sacks, last week against Patrick and the Chiefs were like strain and effort and things like that. And I'll say this, I mean, just watching him interact with some of the young defensive linemen too, like the guy I speak to all the time, Ezraku Donovan, is so cool for me, because when I was with JD in Seattle, again, I wasn't the head coach, but I didn't see him investing in the guys like I see him now. And so I love that. And so I think that shows the maturing part of JD. And, I think that's great for our football team.
Tom Yarsh, DallasCowboys.com. Demo's been kind of playing more and more the last 3 games. What have you seen from him in those, and just how he's physically holding up, and do you want to continue to get him more as we go along? Or I think 42 was his number last week. Is that kind of a comfortable range for him?
Yeah, I mean, we'd like him to play more. Obviously, the short weeks change a lot of things, and they adjust your numbers, and I really do lean on the training staff for that. But what I would say that I've seen is his eyes have gotten way better. you're sitting there and you're watching on the side and you're like, okay, I see this. Okay, it's closed right. Okay, hey, we're going to willy this, we're going to do that. But until you're out there doing it with full speed action, his eyes from the first game action against Vegas to last game were way cleaner. And I think that's a big part of it. But, I do think that we'd like to play him a little bit more than that. But, again, the numbers will be based on the fact that we've had to play 4 games in 17 days.
And then eye discipline was something that you talked about a lot for wanting to see this group improve. And from a broad perspective with everybody, how do you feel like they've done since the bye, and how do you feel like they need to do in this game against a team that has a lot of yards after catch and things like that?
Yeah. So number one, the first answer is so much better. But it starts with the communication. But yes, they're seeing less now, which is good. They're reading their keys better, their triangle better, which is good. In this game is going to be very important because of a number of things. They do a ton of shifts and motions, which we do the same. So they're going to challenge your eyes. They're going to challenge your changing of strength and moving a front and doing all those things. Like, that's not easy. It sounds like it's easy, and in the classroom it is easy, but the tempo that you do it at is challenging. And then the speed that they have. They've got a lot of elite speed, and so if you're out of a gap or if you do have bad eyes, they've got guys that can penalize you in Gibbs and Jamison Williams and St. Brown and guys like that. And Jared, of course, is such a great quarterback. But we've gotten way better, but we're going to have to play with great eyes in this game for sure.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, CD said the Lions play a unique kind of handsy style of man coverage. What's that like, game planning against a team that does play so aggressively in the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, I mean, I really respect them. I respect, what Coach Shepard and his staff do and the way they play. Like, they don't care. I mean, they just get up there and they play press man to man, and they don't look at the jersey numbers and say, oh, that's 88 CeeDee Lamb or that's George Pickens. They don't care. Justin Jefferson doesn't matter. They're aggressive with their hands. They play a physical style that I love, and we're going to be challenged. And I think our guys are excited about that challenge, and they're looking forward to it. But, the whole team plays a certain way, and that's that physical, intense, through the whistle mentality, and that starts with Dan.
And when you see that type of defense, does that you as a play caller look to maybe take more shots, knowing that they're kind of gambling a little bit more up front on the line of scrimmage there?
We always, we'll always look for our shot opportunities, but I think you don't want to force them. I will say this: on film, I see a lot of what I call long foul balls, which means people taking shots and they're going incomplete, and that puts you in second and long. And when you play this defense in second and long, Hutchinson comes alive even more than he already does. What an elite player, and their blitz packages come alive even more. But we'll take our shots.
It's the 50th anniversary of the Hail Mary coming up here soon. As a historian, what did you know about it, and what have you learned about it more since being here?
Yeah, I am. I remember Alcoa Presents, fantastic finishes. I remember seeing that. The old people in the room get it. Garrett's like, what the hell is he talking about? Yeah, it was really cool. Check it out. So I do remember that, and it's really cool. I love to walk over here, sometimes, and they have actually the spot where, Roger threw the ball and where Drew caught it, and it's just one of the most memorable plays. And then every time I walk up and down the steps here, there's the timestamp where they show the progression of it all. But just, it was just such an incredible play, and I love that stuff. And you talk about not just incredible play, but 2 incredible players and 2 incredible people. And so I think it's awesome that it's being celebrated.
There was no such thing as a Hail Mary play, right? How has that evolved now to where you guys have, like, the front tip guys here, the back guys that, like...
Look at you go, man.
Okay. Dak said it yesterday.
Yeah, okay, there you go. I was going to say, look at you. I mean, you're the guy with the cameras. You and Hard Knocks. You guys got the cameras in the meetings. Yeah. How's it changed? Yeah, we coach it probably different than they did. I've never talked to Roger or Drew about it. I actually probably should. That's really cool. Was it just one of those deals go long and, hey, I'll throw it out there? But, yeah, we do. We have specific landmarks and, who's your front tip guy, who's the jumper, and he has jobs, and who are your back tip guys and where they're supposed to be. And you've got multiple ways of doing it. You can do it outside the numbers or in between the hashes. And so I would say, like most things, it's much more because it's won and lost a lot of games in this league. We all coach it a little bit better, and we spend more time on it.
And then obviously when the Dez catch, it was a Dez catch and it wasn't a catch.
Almost catch.
Okay, so Drew didn't push off either then, right?
Probably didn't, yeah. Really, you're going to do that to me right now? I mean, I'm getting ready to go to practice, man. You're going to, yeah. No, great job, Drew. It's called forearm flipper. It's not a push-off. It's called forearm flipper.